back to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger, and with me is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Our mission that we have chosen to accept is to take some time to prepare for the much anticipated Mission Impossible movie. And to do that, we're taking some time, we're reviewing some movies, and we're going to argue a lot.
We'll see if we argue a lot. We might have same opinions on some things. Even if we do, I'll probably find some way to fuck around and piss you off.
Yeah, because you hate everything. It's okay.
Like more movies than you. I like better movies than you too. So.
Oh, that's an opinion. That's an opinion. We need a poll. We need a poll. We are literally seconds into this podcast, and you're already starting shit.
For the record, every poll that we've done, the poll has always been in my favor. Every single time. From Halloween candy, from which Guy Ritchie movie was better, from which list of Marvel movies were better.
Yo, don't make me get the group together, the followers. Don't make me rile them up to actually answer your polls.
Yeah. Well, even if you got all of them, they would still fail. All right, so Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise. God, what a wacky son of a bitch. And who would have thought that there would have been so many Mission Impossibles? Are you a Mission Impossible fan?
I'm very casual about Mission Impossible. I remember when it first came out, I was excited. I remember the video game, which was like a cheap GoldenEye sequel. I was all in for that. Like, okay, let's go. Let's get the N64 out and rock through this. Like, I remember enjoying it when I was younger. And then I remember thinking they're still making these. So they've been okay. Like, I have gripes, but I don't have that many gripes. What about you?
I like them. I'll go into detail. There's some that I like more than others, but I've seen them. Majority, I've seen them in theaters. I want to say, with the exception of 3, I saw every other one.
No,
3 and 6. I've seen everyone in theaters.
No loss there. Foreshadowing. So what order did you see them in? I remember when the first one came out, I saw it and then just kind of caught them all as they came out. Like, I didn't do much of a flippy floppy on them.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how I saw them.
So back in 96, you were rocking the OG.
I remember specifically about the time I saw that with my friends in 7th grade. We got out of the theater yelling, "Abort, abort." And then my buddy Travis jumped into the bushes and he got all scratched up and everything. So we had to go home and get him some like hydrogen peroxide and Band-Aids.
Wow.
I remember specific details about every time I've watched those movies. What about the actors? So we've got a whole bunch of actors throughout this entire series. Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt has been the staple across the board because he owns the world because of Scientology. What did you think about the actors within this series? Who did you like? Who did you not care for? Do tell.
I loved the first movie. I loved Ving Rhames. I loved Tom in those movies. I also loved that they brought in the professional. They brought in Leon, which was awesome. John Voight in that movie was great. Like, the whole cast of the first movie was great. And I feel like it took them a while to get as good of a cast together.
You forgot about one Emilio Estevez.
Yes, Emilio!
He got shish kebabbed in an elevator.
He did.
Didn't see that coming.
Like I said, he didn't. Like I said, the first movie, best cast, hands down. But I love that Ving has been there the whole time. The addition of Simon Pegg to fill the gap left by Emilio has been very good. But I like Simon Pegg in basically everything. And he filled the gap left by Emilio because he does the same thing that Emilio did. He was that guy.
I guess.
I wasn't excited about Renner when they first announced him, but I liked him and was sad to see him be replaced by Henry Cavill for a minute, right? Like just that muscly, silent-y type person. The addition of Baldwin lately has been good, but overall, I liked the OG cast.
Alec Baldwin was so good in the movies.
Alec
Does he?
Baldwin is great in everything.
Yeah, but too bad that he had to kill someone recently. God.
He was completely acquitted of all formal charges. He thought he was playing with a play gun. Leave Alec Baldwin alone.
I'm an Alec Baldwin fan. I'm perfectly fine with his acting resume. I don't necessarily condone killing people, but I'm not saying he killed them on purpose. But a lot of people are blaming him for sure. And unfortunately, accidents happen. Not to make a joke about it, but the one accident that was really, really awful within these movies is Emilio getting shish kebabbed.
It was not, it was a really prickly situation for him.
There is a name on this cast list that will be coming up on the next two movies, and we talked about him a couple episodes ago, and it's one Shea Wiggum from Across the Spider, or I'm sorry, whatever, yeah, Across the Spider Verse, Fast and Furious fame. Shea Wiggum, put some respect on his name. He's in the Mission Impossible series.
Of all the newcomers that are coming in this next movie to talk about, you bring up Shea Wiggum.
Because you think Shea Wiggum is a piece of shit.
When have I said piece of shit?
When you said that Dennis Leary is better than him.
I that doesn't mean he's a piece of shit. That just means that Dennis Leary is better than him.
Man. No, there's a lot of people coming in to the next couple of movies. And you got Captain Carter, Peggy Carter herself, Haley Atwell. Super excited about that.
And you got Palm, yo.
Who? Oh, Palm Clementif. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Totally forgot about her.
How dare you?
Vanessa Kirby, who's, I mean, stunning, but also, what is it with everyone hopping from like monster franchises from one to the other? Like the only person who hasn't really done that is Rebecca Ferguson. And I think she's like the best actor out of all of them.
I don't have a great answer.
Who do you think was like the weakest actor out of like the main people?
Moynihan. Moynihan in general.
Bobby Moynihan? Or Michelle Monaghan?
Monahan, my bad. Either way, the worst.
So I want to, like, one of these days,
you know what?
I go through.
Hang on. Flipping would have made it better.
Bobby Moynihan.
Bobby Moynihan as Tom Cruise's wife would have been better. Would have been so much. Scientology, he would have been a bad guy then. He'd have been whatever the person that they talk bad about is. But yeah.
Bobby Moynihan. He was trying to be Chris Farley and John Belushi so bad on Saturday Night Live.
Trying? Doing amazing.
He is funny. But yeah, Michelle Monaghan, I would say that is pretty accurate. Although I did like the storyline with her character. I thought that was pretty cool. But there you go. It's like, meh. This is the guy that loves rom-coms and you're shaking your head that you don't like Michelle Monaghan in this role.
I don't. I don't.
The one love interest in the movies, and you're like,
the best part of these movies is it doesn't take a love interest for him to choose the right thing. We'll get into this. You're gonna completely just derail. They're projecting some returns from the original movies. They're gonna bring back Kittredge. Donlow could be back. The guy that they made go to the bathroom a bunch of times when they dropped the drops in his coffee.
Wait, that's Donlow?
That's Donlow.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I like the Kittredge. When I saw him in the trailer, I was like, oh man, they're bringing him back? That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know who I really liked that I am not seeing in this is I was hoping that they would bring back Jim, John Voight's character, because he was like the main character from the TV show. I know he
They
blew up.
killed the shit out of him.
I know.
They didn't
but
Han him.
they
They
should have. That would have been so cool because, like, think about it. Like, he is the original OG from like the TV show, the character from the TV show. You thought
But he
was
wasn't the
badass
actor from the TV show.
I know that, but the character itself, that's a cool nostalgia piece. Did you ever watch the TV show?
I remember watching parts of it. I never watched it like religiously.
I remember watching a few episodes of it, and it was pretty cool. You know what I do remember is the video game on Nintendo. That was
Yes.
pretty sweet. Very sweet game.
I feel like Nintendo's done just a great job of Mission Impossibling everything. The N64 game, still so good.
I did want to see Renner's character come back as William Brandt, but it is what it is.
Sometimes you get hit by a snowplow and you got to give up some rolls.
Hey, dude,
Oh.
I freaked out the other day because I saw an RIP Jeremy Renner on a headline on Google. Those motherfuckers, man, they can't even like funnel or filter out those stupid headlines that are just clickbait. I hate it. I thought he died. I thought he like offed himself because he was like depressed.
I'm not going to say what does Jeremy Renner have to be depressed about because that's insensitive. Everybody has their reasons for being unhappy. And if you're unhappy, you should seek help. But that would suck. Jeremy Renner, living a good life.
He is a trooper.
And he is living that good life. Thank goodness.
Yes.
What would we do without Hawkeye?
The death is a hoax.
So you mentioned Han and the Fast and the Furious. Does this franchise qualifier rank with say the Fast franchise or like your John Wicks or something like that? Where does this lay for you? Because I feel like this started that trend or foundation. Like this or the Terminator movies. I don't remember what the first series of big budget action movie after action movie after action movie was, but I feel like this is one of them.
Well, this is very different from like the typical action movie because the first one was like, you know, a very spy thriller. There was action in it, but my definition of action movie involves a lot of gunplay and hand-to-hand combat. Now, the first movie, not so much. Second movie, they turned Tom Cruise into a fucking ninja because John Woo directed it. So that was a little strange to me. But there is more action throughout the rest of it. But where it relates, you know, compared to like Fast and Furious, I don't even consider Fast and Furious action franchise. I consider it a franchise, but
how is it not an action franchise? All they do is race places.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't consider that action.
Disagree.
So is Drive an action movie with Ryan Gosling?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Does Drive have stuntmen that are required to specially film the action and drive sequences?
Sure.
Action movie.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
Does he write letters and put them in some sort of mailbox and then cry in the rain? No, then it's not anything else. It's an action movie.
I don't know. That's my definition of action though. Like I don't think I get it. Like there is, you know, stuntmen that are doing things. Me personally, I don't consider it an action movie. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing where it's like you can't compare driving a car compared to blowing the shit up of like aliens and buildings like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like fucking cannons and grenades everywhere. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that's a fair comparison.
So I look at action like I look at America, right? It's one label over 50 different things. And I feel like all of those movies, your driving movies, your fighting movies, your samurai movies, your Schwarzeneggers, all of them fit under the heading of action because that's how I put them away when I worked at Hollywood Video.
So
And this
is
movie was filed under action.
The Machine an action movie?
That's a comedy.
Why? There's action in it. There's
Because
stunt
it's a
people
comedy.
that are doing the action.
Eh.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's apples and oranges. That's why I don't like considering like this an action movie.
So would you rather I phrase the question as, do you feel like this movie started the trend of continuing franchises? Because same thing. I mean, then you could just blame Star Wars for doing it.
Tom Cruise had a very healthy pause between movies. You got 96 for the first one, 2000, 2006. So there's like a four-year gap between most of them. Whereas like horror movie franchises were like cranking them out like one every year. Action movies, you got Terminator that had a very big gap in between them. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like I don't know if it really. I think from a continuity point of view, nothing really touches Fast and the Furious. They're probably, if you want to say it as like an action franchise, it's probably the most continuous universe out of all movies, which is silly.
Not Wick. Don't they like
No,
pick up
John
and
Wick
start
doesn't even
off?
hold a candle to it
Okay.
because it's less movies, less time. You've got
Okay.
Fast and Furious from 2001 all the way to 2023, and it's one continuous universe, and it's like all those characters are still reverted back. Mission Impossible 96 to 2023, but at the same time, I don't know if that's necessarily, you've got a like core group of 3 that kind of go on to
2, maybe
everything.
3, yeah.
But I mean, I like the franchise. I don't know if he's like Tom Cruise is the catalyst. He would love to be considered the catalyst, but I don't know if he's the one that is, causing everyone else to have their franchises. I don't want to give Tom Cruise credit for spawning everything else.
Was this Tom Cruise's first sequel, though? Because I believe it was.
I think so. Yeah, he hasn't really, he's like Denzel. He hasn't had too many sequels with the exception of Mission Impossible.
Well, and Denzel with the Equalizer, because he just keeps equalizing.
He's going to come out with another one too. I think there's another
That's
Equalizer.
what I'm saying, man. Just equalizing. He's equalizing that bank account. What he's doing. No complaints here. From what I'm hearing, you would rank of those 3. You would rank Fast, Mission, Wick. If I'm hearing franchises there,
I would say so. I mean, I wouldn't say that that's what I like, but in terms of like bona fide, a whole picture things, I have to give it to Fast and Furious because it stood the test of time with consistent sequels throughout. And then Mission Impossible is like awesome, but I think I like John Wick the best. But I will say, I think Wick is the only cluster of movies that have gotten better with each one. I can't say that for Fast or the Mission franchise.
You know what we're forgetting, and I feel like somebody in the comments is going to call us out when we talk about continuing universes and franchises. Forgetting the Bond movies.
It's not continuous though. Let's be real. The only ones that were continuous were the Daniel Craig ones.
Well, the Connery ones were, and there was some continuation.
I think that you can be like completely separate. You can watch every single movie and nothing goes back to the other one.
That's a fair point. I mean, there's a bunch of Easter eggs in there. Don't get me wrong.
Sure. I mean,
there's a bunch of Easter
Moneypenny
eggs,
and Q and M and everything, but yeah, the Daniel Craig ones for sure. I think now that but they're also feeding off of James Bond as a whole.
Yeah. So what else other than continuing storylines make a great franchise? Is there anything else? Because I'm thinking like, I don't remember there ever being a lot of like merch for Mission Impossible.
That's a good question. I don't think there's ever any
like
merch
other
at
than
all.
other than the one video game. I can barely think of I don't even, there might have been one other game. There's been a bunch of Fast and the Furious games that were not very good, right?
Yeah.
There's been, like, I just saw a Fast and the Furious popcorn bucket the last time I went. I don't think they're going to have an Ethan Hunt popcorn bucket, but I don't remember any Mission Impossible merch.
Yeah, that's a good call. I think, you know what? That probably solidifies as to why that's not higher than Fast and Furious. When you don't have a theme park ride, then, well, there you go.
Does the Fast and Furious have a theme park ride now?
Yeah. Turbocharged, bitch.
I remember the Top Gun one.
Oh, I don't even.
At Kings
Where-
Island, there was a Top Gun coaster. It was like
Huh.
it was like Batman. But the whole time you were on it, they played the Top Gun soundtrack blaring in speakers that were above your head. The coolest fucking ride ever. I don't even remember if it was good or bad, but you were dangling with your feet and you're fucking danger zoning. Or no, I think you were sitting in something. I don't remember.
That would be.
But it was suspended above and you were fucking danger zoning and you were Harold Falkmeyering and it was awesome.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's gone now. It is
Wow.
since
Tom Cruise, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, you should make a theme park ride.
dude, I would do a theme park ride where you fucking Ethan Hunted into a room.
That would be sweet.
Just do that shit in VR now.
Yeah. But so merch, I think, is a good call. I think that definitely is part of a good franchise. I would probably say parodies are another good telltale sign that you've got like a good franchise, or even just like a movie, but franchise for sure helps solidify that if you have like some continuous parodies of everything. And speaking of parodies, you got Tom Cruise and Tom Cruise, his stunt double, Ben Stiller. This was on one of the MTV award shows, and it was one of the funniest skits ever. Have you ever seen that?
I've seen it a while back. I love that they bonded during these moments, and then Tom Cruise just basically wrote his part in Tropic Thunder because he wanted fat hands
Yeah.
and he wanted to dance.
Such a good movie. And I love Tom Cruise's explanation of that. Like, because that makes me like him more, that he's not just like some egomaniac, that he wants to make fun of himself and come up with good, funny characters.
That's the only time I've seen Tom Cruise be like an actual person.
You mean jumping on a couch saying you love a woman isn't a real person?
I mean, we all enjoyed Dawson's Creek, but Tom needs to calm down.
I did enjoy him in that role. And did you hear, like, he publicly stated that he wants to do a sequel with RDJ to Tropic Thunder?
I mean, I would do it. I don't think you could get a sequel to Tropic Thunder made right now.
You can
I
get
mean, the
the
machine
character.
just got made, so maybe, but the machine, much like the Flash, did not perform at the box office. So I don't think they're doing it again.
I am all for it. And he doesn't have to play, his character in Tropic Thunder. He can still play the actor who's just like banana shit crazy that just wants to be different characters, and then he could, do something else. Oh God, I would love it. It would be great. Like,
You got to
Robert
bring the
Downey
whole
Jr.
game back, though. You got to bring Jack Black back.
Al Pacino.
I mean, he got a new kid. He's got to be able to do something.
No, not Al Pacino. Al Pacino.
I know.
He loves the pussy. He loves the pussy.
Oh God.
Thanks to our female listeners for bearing with me for those 2 seconds there.
Yeah, no, that definitely. Speaking of listeners, so there's a lot of those franchises we talked about, right? Fast and the Furious and John Wick have really rabid fan bases. Have you ever met somebody that's like, I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan?
No.
Neither have I.
The only people I've ever heard talk about that was they were talking about something completely different, and someone just happens to mention Mission Impossible, and it's like, oh yeah, that's cool.
So how do these movies keep making this much money?
Right? It's crazy. I don't know. But Tom Cruise has a lot of pull, and maybe Scientology just pulls from other Scientologists.
I do all the Scientologists just go like 7 times and they take their 23 wives. Like they pull the boat up from the C Corp and they all just pile into the fucking to the drive-in. Like what's going on here?
I don't know, man. That's a very valid question. They are good movies. They're entertaining. They are action-packed. And it is something that I appreciate Tom Cruise's mega stardom a whole lot because there's not many mega stars out there anymore. Tom Cruise is one of them, and he's getting there in age. He's approaching 60. And not to say he can't be a star within his 60s. I mean, look at Liam Neeson. He had like a resurgence in his career. But Tom Cruise, if he wants to continue to do like his own stunts and shit, I don't know how much longer he can do this.
Well, aren't these his last 2? Isn't this it?
Oh, is that it?
I heard that was it.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that.
I could be completely wrong though.
I wouldn't think that he would want to close the chapter on anything because he wants to be able to do anything, anywhere, anytime. And honestly, this is his moneymaker. You get rid of this, what are you going to do?
This is not his highest grossing film.
It's his cash cow. Why do you think they keep on making these movies? His Mummy reboot didn't do anything.
No, so they wrap that back up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't have a good answer. I thought that I was for some reason under the impression that he was not hanging it up after this one, but just it was the last one.
If he is, then that's why he's lobbying for a Tropic Thunder 2.
Yeah.
You know what? Sign me up. A bunch of Les Grossman films. I'm down.
Dude. I don't know. So then let me ask you, as you look at this, as you think about all of these different things, are you excited that there's another one?
He hasn't missed. I personally don't think since Mission Impossible 4, it has been a hit every single time, and I've been thoroughly entertained. So yeah, I'm for it. There's only, I love Marvel films, but at the same time, something that constantly sells and makes people feel good is nostalgia, things that they're familiar with, and Tom Cruise is all of those. And this franchise and these movies are great. You have that perfect blend of action, suspense, thrill, humor, and you got a nice little Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah. I think the problem is there's not another franchise or not any other nostalgic thing that he can jump into.
Yeah. I mean,
like
everything else that he's done has been, they're all one-offs, and a lot of them didn't do so great. They're good movies. He was
supposed to completely relaunch Universal Monsters with The Mummy, and that's how bad it bombed, that they didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah. But Tom Cruise, if he continues to make movies, I will continue to watch them. There's a big cluster of movies I didn't watch of his back in like the mid to late 90s, but
like which ones?
You had like the whole I take it back. I did watch them, but it wasn't anything that I was like, ooh, I want to go see it. Like Magnolia, Eyes Wide Shut, like those movies.
Oh,
like
the artsy phase.
Yeah.
Vanilla Sky?
I saw Vanilla Sky in theaters, but that's disclaimer, that was at NIU at the Dollar Theater.
Minority Report?
That was good.
Oh, you're talking about The Last Samurai.
That was awesome. That was a great movie. Okay. But that was like early 2000s. I'm talking about like mid to late 90s.
So Jerry Maguire was 96.
Yeah, didn't care.
Was Mission Impossible?
Well, yeah, Mission Impossible. But
Don't
I didn't care about
badmouth Jerry Maguire.
Don't care about it.
That movie's amazing.
Okay. I just don't. I don't care about it. It's not my type of movie. I don't like those rom. Not even. I don't even know if you can say rom com. Is it considered a rom com?
That's a drama, baby.
Yeah. So no, I'm not. Romantic dramas, nah. Unless someone's getting killed or threatening to be killed, then nah.
Hey, Rod Tidwell went over the middle, almost got killed.
Don't even know who that is, so whatever.
Moving right along, are you excited, or do you have anything you expect from the next one?
I expect one of the core characters to die. I think that's what I expect.
Ooh, there's expectations. Okay.
Yeah.
So before we get too much in the expectations, let me pause. Let me rewind, because we made a little thought, or rolled out there. We had a conversation before the conversation about ranking these pre-Dead Reckoning movies. And I think that we owe it to listeners who love to hear us rank movies, because those obviously are our most popular episodes.
Are we gonna do first to worst or what?
I think we do worst to first.
Worst
so we
to
can
first.
just talk some mad shit.
You got it. All right. May the honors be yours first.
I will forever bash this movie. And it is surprising and sad to me that I dislike it, because it's a director that I really enjoy, and a cast that should have been better. But Mission Impossible 3. J.J. Abrams' turd.
Why did you not like that?
I just thought the movie was weak in general. They did the wife thing, which was his entire character was about not having a connection like that, so he could continue through life and serve and do all that, right? It's like the same reason that you don't give like the big Marvel characters that are female like a husband that protects them. You want that character to just operate on their own, and they gave Ethan Hunt a wife, and they're gonna fucking kill her. Storyline was weak. It was too Felicity-y. It was JJ Felicity JJ, not Star Wars and Star Trek JJ. It made me sad. Though it did give us Simon Pegg into the universe, which is the only redeeming quality of that film, is it introduces Benji. The rest of it I could do without.
My number 6 pick is Mission Impossible 2. I like action. I love action, but this was ridiculous. I left the theater just actually, no, I was in the theater laughing at all the wrong spots. Tom Cruise doing somersaults in midday, like that's gonna hide him and have him be more secretive in certain things when he's like making his final run at the bad guys. Like that's dumb. And he was like a ninja. All of a sudden, Tom Cruise was a ninja, and that rock climbing scene where Ben Stiller made fun of it, where he's he's like spread across in his arms and everything. But most importantly, that Limp Bizkit song, while I liked it, was one of the worst renditions or variations of the Mission Impossible theme. Awful.
Yeah, I've got to say that rock climbing scene was the worst rock climbing scene since was it Star Trek 4 or something like that, where Kirk is climbing El Capitan and Spock has floating boots. Is some kind of ridiculous, but yeah, that was terrible. I agree. My number 5 is Mission Impossible 2 for all the reasons you spoke about. It just was so like this. Why is John Woo trying to make Tom Cruise into Jet Li?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
And keep in mind, I love action. I love martial arts. I love double guns. It's my favorite.
So much double guns.
Guns akimbo, my favorite.
This is if you took all the John Woo-ness of that and replaced it with like some Michael Bay-ness, would have been such a better movie.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Doug Ray Scott, who thank God for this movie, because of this movie, we got Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. So we should probably owe Tom Cruise a big thanks that he kept Doug Ray Scott on this project.
I will say I'm surprised that the first two, the low ones so far, and we'll continue to go on. The low ones solely caused by directors.
Yeah.
What's your number
So
5?
my number 5 is Mission Impossible 6. So
What?
pretty good. It's a sequel to the fifth one, like a direct sequel where there's
You're talking about
characters.
Fallout, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I like Henry Cavill, and the fight scene where he cocks his arms, badass. But the thing that was just kind of it was good, it was entertaining. It just didn't wow me. That was my problem with it. And the thing that really bothered me is that you knew Henry Cavill was a bad guy with his fucking stash. You knew he was a bad guy. So why are you even trying to pretend like that's the case? Like, cut the fucking mustache and make it believable that he could be a good guy on his team. But no,
Listen,
keep the villain
good
stash.
good guys can have mustaches too.
Name one.
Burt Reynolds,
He was a bad motherfucker in every movie.
Jeff Foxworthy.
He's just bad. I don't know.
Oh,
I do like his redneck stuff though.
I disagree on Fallout, but you know what? We'll get there. We'll get there. That brings me to number 4 for me, and this is where the nits start to pick, in my opinion, because while there were 2 really bad ones, the rest of them have all been pretty serviceable, right? But I'm going to go with Rogue Nation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just wasn't a fan. Like,
Really?
it's not that I didn't like it, it's that I didn't like it as much as the other ones.
Wow. Okay. So it's probably just like how I thought of number 6,
Okay.
Fallout, right? So, okay. I don't want to go too much into because that'll be a little bit later on my list. So, my next one is the JJ Abrams one, Mission Impossible 3. So I thought it was a return to form, but it was dumb. It really was dumb.
It's real dumb.
And I thought, with Philip Seymour Hoffman as that villain, I thought best villain, second best villain out of the entire franchise. Second best villain. Awesome. Philip Seymour Hoffman was menacing in that movie, RIP. And I thought it was just like, whoa, this guy is a cold motherfucker. Like, there's no way that they can get out of this. But of course they will. But yeah, I thought it was very believable. I elevate that movie more so because of him. But that rabbit's foot, where you don't find out whatever the fuck it is, it's just a literal MacGuffin that it doesn't matter what the fuck it is, what you do with it, and there's no resolution to it. And he's just like, here's the rabbit's foot. I don't care. I'm gonna go see my wife.
So that brings me to my number 3, which is Ghost Protocol. I enjoyed this one. I believe this is where they introduced Renner.
Yes.
And yeah, I was just a fan. I thought the action in this was good. I thought the story was compelling, and I liked the whole he finally went to Russia thing. Like he had to just completely move off of all of the IMF stuff.
That was so awesome. That Kremlin scene where it fucking blew up was so badass.
Yeah.
And the sandstorm, another cool scene in that movie, which was really sweet. So that is also my number 3. And that's what I wrote down. Effing sweet next to that movie, because it made me like, whoa, I really like Mission Impossible. Like, I like the first one, and I thought the second one was garbage, and then the third one was okay. But Mission Impossible 4, it was a date night with my wife and we were both like, whoa, that was pretty badass. I was very impressed.
Yeah. This one brought you back to him against the agency a little bit, which I was a fan of. And yeah, it worked for me. Though the only part of it that I wasn't a fan of, it was Paula Patton.
Mm.
I can't.
She was a very attractive woman with a axe to grind against the bad guys. I was fine with her. I thought it was a really cool cast, like a supporting cast, like,
I
more to
agree.
back Ethan up. But
I just feel like there's been better, other than 3, the weakest female character we've seen across the franchise.
you don't think like in the first one, like,
No, I thought Claire was a fucking crazy badass who was faking being scared. Just,
hmm,
I thought she was snaky. I loved it.
okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So,
Yeah, I'm sure we will shortly.
all right.
So what
So what's
you had the same 3, right?
yep? What's your number two?
My number 2 is Fallout. I loved Cavill in this.
Hmm.
I loved how this turned grittier as he got older. I love that the stunts were just like they let him go ham on this. And like he climbed up the side of a fucking building in a different one. But this movie, I saw it because the stunts look so awesome in the trailers. I'm like, and these aren't the best ones. So I was a fan of the grittiness, but I'm more of a Bond fan too. Like I enjoy the Daniel Craig Bond movies, and it was just like Cavill being this monster in it. I was a fan, and I wanted to see if the mustache played, which it did, or else it ruined 2 movies, which I don't think it did. I think it only ruined 1, and you know which one I'm talking about.
I think I had a problem with that one. I shouldn't say a problem, but I think another reason why it fell down on my chart is because they did like a Rambo 2 stunt or a Rambo 2 playoff to where, how Cavill dies in the helicopter. It was like very similar, like Rambo 2 to me. So I'm just
Only
like,
you would do that. Only you would think of, oh well, Rambo did it.
yeah, he did. And overall the movie was fine. It was serviceable. It just wasn't anything like for the exact reason why you said like the stunts were amazing and everything. Like, okay, holding on to the side of a plane, while impressive, I wasn't wowed by that. Like, that's not action to me. That's just like, okay, you just rig it up so it's good. Now, granted, there is a very real element of danger. It just I'm not getting hard for him holding on to the side of a plane.
I thought the motorcycle stunts in it were fucking awesome.
They were very good.
Like,
They were
and
awesome.
and the fact that Tom Cruise was doing half of them,
Yeah, it's impressive.
like, dude. I mean, I'm feeling warm and fuzzy and safe if Tom Cruise is doing any kind of transporting of me. Like,
um, I will say and I said it earlier, like, because I don't necessarily like driving stunts are very cool. I don't think of it as the action that I like. So that's why it's not higher up on my list.
okay. So what's
All
your
right.
2?
Number two is Mission Impossible 1. So a lot of reasons for this. It's just a movie at the time when I saw it, I was like, huh, this was actually a pretty good movie for not having any action in it. And that's exactly what I thought of when I saw it. And I liked the twists and turns. I liked the reveal that Jim was the bad guy, but it was just very smart, how Ethan kind of unfolded everything. And I liked the whole back and forth with Max. That was a great character in that movie. And, that's what a true spy movie is. There's a few elements throughout all the other movies where they're not necessarily spies. They turn into like superheroes. And that's why, they're a little bit lower on the list. But that movie, legitimate spy thriller with some action. I don't consider it an action movie, but really, really good, very well done. And yeah, I mean, who didn't want to have that same Tom Cruise leather jacket that he wore? And also, Larry Mullen and Adam Clayton with that bomb fire Mission Impossible theme. Oh, so good.
Yeah, no, your number two is my number one. I feel like it separates itself from all the rest of the movies. The cast is the strongest. The story is the strongest. The twists, the turns. You get so many actors that just are perfect for the role. I cannot say enough about Jean Reno. I think I just love him in everything, but I loved him in this role. And you thought he was going to be, because at the time he was, I mean, he had done Leon the Professional and he had a lot of credits, but he wasn't an opposite. He wasn't he wasn't anything, right? He was just a guy. And to have him play this character that was so just menacing in his French way, I thought worked. Loved him in this movie. Loved the weird razor bladey handly knife that he had. For some, it was like the weirdest knife I've ever seen. Completely impractical. Like the most, oh, this is gonna break. That's not a knife situation. But I remember that. I remember the way that they filmed it from both ends, and then they play you back what actually happened. Like,
Yeah.
so much good. The reveal on it was so good. And I was, like you, I was in like, seventh grade at the time. So I'm like, I didn't see any of it coming. It was great. It took me on the ride and is the reason I saw the other ones, and still the reason I'll go see the next one. Like, again, I liked Fallout. It was great, but this one was the best. And I thought it was, I think, the purest form of Ethan Hunt that you get. Because the rest of them, there's Jaded, there's Tom wanting action, there's Ninja Tom, there's all of that. But this is just this was a fresh character and a fresh, franchise. And I don't think you can reopen anything. We don't get fresh anymore. Like, we
Oh,
just
you
don't.
do. We watched it and you did not
Oh man.
like it.
Yeah, no. That was, I don't know that was fresh. It may have been titled that, but man.
So
What's your number one?
And my number one is Mission Impossible 5. God, so good in my opinion. This was the movie that, like, so I got out of the theater for 4 and I was like, wow, that was really great. I got out of the theater of 5. It's like, whoa, that was even better. So I like that movie because from the stunt perspective, that stunt where he jumps into the pool or like the little water tank and he's got the 3 minutes that he has to get the little disc, and dude, that was a cool scene because he actually, like, he trained to actually hold his breath for that long. So that was super impressive to me. But even just that scene itself was like, oh man, he's gonna do it. And then the disc floats away and you're like, oh, he is fucked. And then superstar of the movie, Rebecca Ferguson, her character jumps in, saves him, and she was awesome because she was a legitimate spy, badass, had the skills, had the screen charisma, and it was just like oozing not even just sex appeal, but just awesomeness. Like, she was such a powerful character and a powerful woman in that movie. And Simon Pegg, his humor and his just assumption that Ethan is going to, like, yeah, you can hold your breath for 3 minutes, no problem. And Ethan's just looking at him like, what the fuck? Okay, I guess I'm going to try to. And it was just a really cool combination of everything. And then, of course, you had Luther, Ving Rhames' character, back in there. So you had the combination of the people that you liked from the previous movies, over the top, but realistic action, if that makes sense, and a strong female character, along with a villain who they catch, but they do not kill, and he lives to see another day. And of course, you see him in the next movie.
Okay. I'll give you that. I again, I enjoyed it. There were certain aspects of other movies I enjoyed more or less, but I will agree that Rebecca Ferguson solid, and I'm excited to see her in the next ones.
Oh, dude, I forgot to say too, the car chases, even though I don't necessarily consider that action, car chases were freaking sweet. And come on, Alec Baldwin. How can you not like Alec Baldwin in this movie?
I never said I didn't.
Such a good
Never
movie.
said I didn't.
That's it. That's my Mission Impossible.
But I'm
ranking.
excited to have Kittredge back. I'm not gonna lie.
That will be interesting to see.
So we know what you liked before, and we know kind of what you like now. So what would make this a 10 for you if we saw it? Because we know, I don't know what we do know, but because it's a part one,
Yeah.
we're gonna end up on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I don't know. So what I don't want to see is helpless women in this movie. I really don't want
Okay.
to see that. That would be one thing that if they're all like strong badasses, that will definitely lead me closer to like, oh, cool, I will enjoy this movie.
They've definitely brought
Because
in some strong actresses.
yes, yeah, Vanessa Kirby can play a badass. When she was in Hobbs and Shaw, she plays her character very well.
Mm-hmm.
Haley Atwell can play a strong female character. If anyone, though, I think she might be, in my opinion, the weak link of the character. Not as a person or an actor, but I think her character in that movie might be like the closest to a damsel in distress. Because I haven't seen anything where she's like kicking anyone's ass. And
Yo,
oh, you've seen something?
she was posting a lot of shit on the gram about
Okay,
the stunts and the ass whooping she was getting on the set. I expect this to be the Captain Carter-esque movie that we wish we had, minus
cool.
the shield and suit. I expect her to be a friggin' badass. And I'm going to give you my 2 movies later prediction that if Tom can't go again, she leads. One movie, then they won't bring her back and they'll bring Tom back again. But I think she's got this character has the capacity to lead a movie. It would be from everything I see, because it seems like she is right next to him, with him through all of these action scenes. So I'm really hoping that it's a 2-person team kind of situation. But
Okay.
I agree, damsels in distress would make this suck. That's what made 3 suck.
I thought that was just an interesting play just because of, since it's his wife, he has to do something different. It's not like, oh, I just met this random female who needs our help with something. You know what I mean? But in the next movies, I like if they're strong women, the action scenes are good. If they have great hand-to-hand fight scenes, I'm down for it. Then I will be like, yes, this is, it's all elevating. It's very tough to top the previous movies though, and that's why I feel like 6 fell flat, because I don't think it topped 5 in terms of the action. And that's what Tom Cruise wants to do, is top action topping action. John Wick, that franchise has done that expertly. I don't know if they can necessarily do that, especially with limitations for Tom Cruise. If they start bringing in other like legit stuntmen and stunt women in major roles, then that's believable. But that's not the case. As great as Haley Atwell, Rebecca Ferguson, and Vanessa Kirby are, I don't think that that's the same type of action level that they can surpass.
Yeah. I've got to say that I want more story. I want more like the first one. I want you to completely misdirect me
Yeah.
and then give me a at the end. Like, the one thing I need is when they end it, I want it to end like Spider-Verse did. Like, it didn't give you the answer. You knew there was a ton left to unpack, but it gave you like this preview into the next one that was just like, oh shit, didn't see that coming. That's awesome. That's what I need. I need this to end that way. And I need the next one to really, I need an unfolding of a good twist. And then the next one, I need an even twistier twist. I need more story from the first, not
Okay.
not karate from the second, if you will.
Yeah, fair enough. With that ending, so you don't want it to be like, do you want it to literally be like cliffhanger where he's
No.
okay?
It would, but though I would think it would be really funny if he actually was hanging from a cliff, which I mean, if there's any movie that's how they could break the two, this is it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want it to be like that, the room is going to blow up and only one person's going to survive. Like that's too cliffhangerish for me. Like that's too much. I
That would be
want
a great
there
callback to the show for the
Yeah,
breaks between but
yeah.
in
But I
general,
want to see a definitive ending and just exposition into the next one. Very much like you said. So I think that's a fair assessment. But yeah. Any other guesses or predictions from you about the next movies?
I've stayed very spoiler free, which is like my new way of life. So I don't even know what the major action scenes in are this, other than Haley's in them and there's some driving, but I'm game for it. I know that there was a lot of I know that there was a lot of work put into it. I know that there was a lot of money put into the stunts, and I know that Tom held it solely so it would go into theaters because he's Tom Cruise, savior of big box office. So there's all that going on, but in general, I have no thoughts other than I really hope it's good.
Same here. And I think that pretty much leads us to the conclusion of this episode. But the Mission Impossible franchise, before we see Dead Reckoning 1 and 2, can you do this entire franchise all day?
I don't watch it from beginning to end like it's like Harry Potter or Star Wars. I watch the ones I like. Overall, I'm game to see them, but it's more on the I'll go see it, yes, answer than nah, I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna see it. Like it's not a priority. Um the last one I waited till it was, um streaming, but
Okay.
what
Fair
about
enough.
you? Are you I watch them all the way through. I eat this shit for breakfast.
1, 4, and 5, I can absolutely do all day.
One is mine. I watch one like there are no other.
So, I mean, I would say the franchise as a whole, I'd say yes, I can do all day.
Hey, we wouldn't be talking about it if we didn't like it. Well,
Well,
actually,
we'll
no.
see.
Take that back. Take that back.
We'll see what happens on the next movie. So, we may be seeing that together and doing a podcast in the same room together and discussing our thoughts.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm Dan the Part-Time Adventure. That's Mark the Resident Jedi.
Tune in next week because this podcast, after you like, subscribe, and hit us up on all of our socials, will self-destruct when you go see the next one.